Nearly 60 state lawmakers are backing a bill that would raise the legal age for buying tobacco products from 18 to 21. Boston is looking at the issue separately as well, with the goal of raising the age by February.
It's about the public health, about preventing young people from starting smoking. Most longtime smokers started when they were too young to make a better choice. Smokers are the first to tell you that.
Nearly 90 cities and towns in the state already have a 21-plus tobacco law in the books, but should it be expanded statewide? Joining me now to discuss that are Jonathan Winikoff, he's a pediatrician at MGH, also the former chair of the American Academy of Pediatrics Tobacco Consortium. Good to see you. And Jeff Yelenasian, I got it right, didn't I? The owner of Brennan's Smoke Shop. Good to see you both. Jeff, why is this, Jonathan, why is this a good idea? Why should we raise the age?
Well, I think briefly, the biggest regret every smoker has in their life is that they ever started to smoke. It's the one thing they say universally that they could change. And if you start to smoke when you're a teenager, chances are you'll be smoking for the rest of your life, and that's the way it goes.
But isn't younger the problem? See, the Surgeon General said not too long ago, if young people can remain free of tobacco until age 18, the current age, most will never start smoking. So why isn't 18?
Well, actually, the Institute of Medicine just came out with a superseding report, which says that if you reach the age of 21, you're much less likely to become a smoker. So that actually was an old report. The new report and the new science really says that the tobacco epidemic will be significantly curtailed if the age is raised to 21.
Why is this a bad idea, Jeff?
It blossoms into other things.
Like what?
Driving, voting, joining the service. You know, it just keeps going. Where does it end? My feeling is if a young adult can go overseas and give their life or pay the ultimate price for their country, then they should have the liberty of enjoying a fine stick of tobacco or cigar with their father.
Yeah, I want to get to that in a second, but even if, I don't want to put the argument aside permanently for about 30 seconds, in Needham, which was the first city in the country to do this, in 3 or 4 or 5 years, it started in 2005 year, the percentage of teens who were smoking went down from 13 to 7%. Isn't that in and of itself, other than the business implications, isn't that a good enough reason to be doing this, even despite the other stuff
I don't think there's going to be much implication in the business. I have 7 retail tobacco stores. I don't see a lot of, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, honestly.
Well, how about the other issue that I raised about almost cut in half in Needham in 5 years?
I was informed that the teen smoking in Boston area is 7%. It's a 40-year low, as opposed to the marijuana use, which is 50% of teens using marijuana. So,
which is illegal. But getting back to the point that Jeff made a minute ago, which I think is actually pretty powerful.
Yeah.
You're smart enough to vote when you're 18.
Yeah.
You're smart enough to decide whether to go to war.
Yeah.
2 years earlier, you're capable enough to drive a car, but you're not smart enough to make a decision about whether or not you smoke a cigarette?
Well, what's the age of sale for alcohol? 21.
Yeah.
How old do you need to be to rent a car? I think that the rental car industry knows that the judgment really isn't there to make a lifelong decision.
You're cherry picking. They can pick a president. They can decide again to go into combat in Iraq or wherever they go.
If you look at the development of the brain, the neuroscience of the developing brain, it takes very little nicotine early on when those nicotine receptors are hungry to double or triple the number of receptors in those the reward centers of the brain that will then establish not just your potential for lifelong tobacco addiction, but also can lead to a susceptibility to all other drugs of abuse.
So would you raise some of these other ages too that Jeff mentioned a minute ago?
Well, if you look at marijuana, for example,
forget
in Colorado,
marijuana.
what did they do?
How about
They
voting?
Voting.
Should they be allowed to pick the next president?
What we're not talking about is voting here. What we're talking about is the tobacco industry trying to addict kids before they're old enough to make a lifetime decision that will affect their health.
That is the agenda. I'm not saying it's your agenda, but the tobacco companies, when you read all the that is the agenda. If they get a kid when he or she is young, they're going to keep a kid. You know that to be true.
We go to these meetings and they put the tobacco industry spending millions and millions of dollars.
Billions, actually. $12 billion last year.
I don't see where they're spending the money. I see a bunch of red tape that I have to cut through just to sell tobacco to adults.
If we mention driving at 16, should we lower the age that you can buy tobacco to 16? I mean, if you can drive it, why not? I mean, you want it to be consistent. Why shouldn't it be consistent there?
I'll give you a good example. We testified in front of the Pembroke Board of Health, and they want to change the age to 21. we said, hey, listen, you're going to make my life easier. The only people that I ever have a problem with in carting them in my store is an 18 and 19 or a 20-year-old. We get into altercations. They don't have their ID. It's not a big deal to me.
So you don't care, or you do care?
I care about their rights. You know, I don't care if I can sell them tobacco or not. I care about them not even knowing that their right, freedom, and liberty is being stripped away by a group of people that are trying to save kids from becoming adults. You know, we don't care. But here's the thing: in Pembroke Board of Health, one of the members came over to me and said, "Jeff, I applaud you for your point of view, but I served. If a person's can die for their country, then they should be able to have their liberties."
We have to hold it there,
Well,
Jonathan.
right now,
10
I just have to
seconds.
say that the tobacco industry has the liberty, and if we raise the tobacco sales age to 21, people will have the liberty.
Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, good to meet you. Thanks so much, gentlemen, both of you.